Hi, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
How are you
Internet.
on this beautiful Friday? I mean, we're probably not going to get much live stream viewers because it is sunny AF out there.
It is sunny AF in the era of COVID, and we're simultaneously being told to go outside, but also stay inside. For safety. So
be calm, be safe,
stay inside, but maybe go outside. Even though you're allowed to go outside, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, I love how they're always like, Dr. Bonnie Henry's like, okay, please listen to the rules. And they're like, this is the stuff we think you should do. And then they're like, we're not mad, we're disappointed. Everybody's just touching each other and spreading the virus and the new Brazilian variants
of concern.
Before we get into all that shit, we are joined today by Marty Zylstra, local pop punk legend and man about town. Marty,
hey. You can call me a singer songwriter now. That'd be
singer. Oh yeah, your solo album just dropped.
Which is not called again? Not pop punk.
It's not pop punk anymore, but I love pop punk. You know, it's funny. You guys should do there's this guy who takes songs and turns them into Blink-182 songs.
Oh,
have you seen that guy?
The covers, yeah.
I swear he's the best guy on the internet because I'm like right away. I'm like, that should have been me. I wish
it could have been you.
I wish I had his life.
You still can do that.
You missed a chance to go viral.
He hasn't monopolized making other songs sound like Blink-182.
I like what he does. I was like, should I do that with the Beatles? Like, should I just do like Beyonce songs but sounds like the Beatles? I don't know if it would work. Beyonce's not a good example, but
Beatles though,
like 1963, like that kind of beat. Like,
which album would that be?
With the Beatles?
Yeah.
They're a band from the 60s.
No, which album did they have out in 63? Because I don't know the years of the albums. I can just kind of guess by which
she loves like the like the 4-piece black suits with the like black and white guitars and the Ringo
like the
going
Brit
like
pop, not the trippy, like not like Sgt. Pepper's or
not like before they dropped acid.
It would be even better to do like Beyonce, but like Sgt. Pepper Beyonce.
Oh yeah, and then you could get like fucking. I can't remember. There's some guy who's on the cover of that album who's like a problematic figure, and I can't remember which guy it is.
Well, he wanted to have
Charles Manson.
Lennon wanted to have Hitler. I don't know if you knew that.
Sorry, what?
Lennon wanted Hitler.
Fucking John Lennon. They're probably just like, no, Lennon.
No, they did. They said we can't have Hitler. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Lennon was probably like, why didn't we have Hitler?
Dale with his award-winning John Lennon impersonation.
This isn't one of your topics either for tonight, but there's this artist called JoJo Siwa who recently came out, and my daughter listens to her. She's fantastic. She's like just a pop artist, and her message is really like overcoming and fun, and she's really hip, and I really like her because normally kids music is like banal. It's bad, right?
Banal.
But this is good. It's horrible. Bad.
Wait, isn't that banal? Have I been pronouncing it wrong this whole time?
Banal.
Is it banal?
I'm just going in. We're all going to pronounce it differently.
It's just one of those words I've never heard.
Tomato, written out.
Potato, tomato. Come on.
I hate this podcast. I'm getting to my point. There's a famous conservative podcaster, blogger, social media guy who posted about these are our heroes and like these are our kids' heroes, and posted the fact that
was it Matt Walsh? Because that guy's a bag of shit and I hate him.
No, it was an Ontario guy. Oh, anyway, I'm not going to say the guy's name because some people may actually like him, and it's fine if you do. I don't care, but the weird thing,
raise controversy so that more people come here to the source
Google
material.
My point. I'm getting to my point very slowly, but basically, the heroes of our parents, like in the 60s, as an example. Okay, the Mamas and the Papas. I don't know if anybody knows the story about the Mamas and the Papas, but that's not really somebody that you want to be your idol.
Yeah, or Fleetwood Mac. How they like also, just fucking
Bill Wyman
spouses.
Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones married a 14-year-old. I don't like. a 16-year-old girl came out and she's promoting inclusivity and loving people, and like, I don't know, that's great. That sounds fantastic.
How about we give her Woman of the Year and take it away from Greta Thunberg for just making us feel guilty?
Wow,
Greta
Dale.
Thunberg?
I'm not gonna say anything about that.
We're what, like 5 minutes in, and then I've already fucking put a big speed bump there.
I'm kind of a fan of Greta.
Marty's
Sorry.
like, I have this happy girl that I want to bring up and make everybody feel good, and then I'm just like, fuck this other girl.
I mean, anything like you look at, like, if teenagers are activists about anything or promoting anything that like actively makes the world a better place, whether it's Greta or Jojo, like, I don't think I'm gonna knock it, because I think back to how I was and the things I cared about when I was a teenager, and it wasn't anything like beyond making my life better and doing the things that I wanted to do. So good for them.
I think, are some of our idols, like Kurt Cobain as an example. He was always promoting people who were different, whether you were LGBTQ plus or you were whatever. Who cares? Like, he was really into that, and so I think we had maybe a bit better idols. Is my point. The boomers screwed it up. And I think the boomers sometimes forget that, like, their idols should have a reality check. Is my main point.
Well, that was like 70 years ago as well.
I think it was 90 years ago. Kurt Cobain wasn't. That's not.
But he's not the boomer guy. No, you were talking about. Like,
I'm talking about our parents who are complaining about vaccines and masks.
Yeah, like Elvis and Willie Nelson, and name some other ones. I was just naming some other. I don't know. Fuck, whatever.
Let's get into the topics.
Let's get into the wait. Do we have any pop culture or music or topics? Because we could do a banging segue right now.
Okay, wait. Let me quickly look at the list.
If you got
everybody pretend like that didn't just happen.
There's a good Soundgarden story rolling around the internet. You guys heard about that story? Soundgarden, a 90s
Soundgarden, the band?
Yeah, a band from the 90s who had a hit song called Black Hole Sun. Black Hole Sun.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell sadly lost his life to mental health.
He did.
And addiction, and I am a huge fan. But they're going to court in the next month over the social media passwords for their Instagram account.
What?
So there you go.
Because
look that up.
Because Cornell's family has it?
Yeah, his wife. I mean, I was kind of unpacking it a little bit. It sounds like she wants control of some of the songs that were recorded with him that may or may not be Soundgarden songs in the future. Because she wants to do another introspective release for Cornell fans, because he had a pretty prolific solo career. But how it's kind of escalated is funny because, I mean, Derek, I was in a punk band with your brother.
You were.
Called Sweetheart.
Sweetheart, by the way, if you're listening, please check them out. They had one banger of an album.
Well, the other one was good.
Jared wasn't on the other one, was he?
Sadly, he wasn't on any of them, but he's a fantastic musician, by the way. But what I would say is that, like, Soundgarden didn't have a band, like they didn't have they didn't have a holding company. They didn't have like a partnership, a written partnership. It was just a handshake agreement between
the members
guys.
of the band.
Yeah. So when he died, he kind of left them with this unspoken handshake, which is crazy because it was Soundgarden. It wasn't like my punk band or like a little tiny local group. It was a monster of a massive band, one of the greatest bands of all time, potentially greatest American bands of all time. So that's kind of an interesting story. But they're going to court all over it. And it's kind of messy and it's sad because Chris was a good guy and the band are good people, and I read nothing but good things about all of them.
I don't think there was acrimony when the band split up. There wasn't any, like, that wasn't an acrimonious split, was it? It was just like Chris going off to do his own thing.
Originally it sounded like he kind of wanted a bit more control over the songwriting, maybe, but they didn't really say anything negative about each other. But the one thing I'd say about like something like this where a death is involved, I think these fractures in relationships kind of get wider and wider and wider and wider, so I think that everybody's kind of beating up on his wife a little bit and vice versa, but it's sad because it tarnishes the legacy a little bit. And because of social media, everything explodes, right? You got Reddit, you got all the Soundgarden Redditors, and you could replace the name Soundgarden with any band. I'm sure Linkin Park is maybe even going through some of this too, or Alice in Chains, or whoever it is, whatever band loses their singer. But it's really sad because, it's unnecessary, I guess.
Well, then people feel compelled to pick sides, and it's you pit the fandom of a band essentially against each other, or against.
Yeah, and I mean we're in a world where everybody has an opinion and has a voice at the same time, right? So
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading this article, and she's saying, she basically set up all the social media and stuff while, like, during Soundgarden being around and active and after, and she's saying nobody cared before, and she said she's overseen the accounts for close to a decade. The fact that Soundgarden is unaware of the usernames and passwords for their alleged own accounts confirms their utter lack of involvement in creating, growing, and maintaining their alleged accounts. So
sad, right?
Yeah, it is sad. Maybe they're running out of money from royalties or whatever.
So. Probably. I mean, money does run out as a musician. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you don't play live, which is live is 90% of your income as a musician, the money friggin' runs out. Unless you're Michael Jackson and your songs played 20 times a day on hundreds of stations worldwide, Soundgarden still gets paid. Don't get me wrong, but it's harder to make those decisions when everybody's angry at each other. Like, do you remember the Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, Courtney Love sort of stuff way back? It was like 15 years ago. Yeah, they went to court because and it was sad because everybody's mad at each other in court. You don't want to go to court over this stuff. It just ruins it. But.
And this is where that conspiracy court killed Kurt thing came from, right? Did you ever hear about that?
Well, I think if Kurt had died like today, let's say, I think that would be everywhere on the internet, right? But because it was the 90s, like there's only like crumbs of information, and some of the crumbs point to each other, and maybe she was involved, but everything I've read suggests she wasn't involved. So
I think that was just people being like, I think it's a way to deal with the grief of losing your hero. Like,
and you don't want to come.
You don't want to come to terms with your hero killing yourself. Like, it's almost easier if the person you've idolized was murdered nefariously instead of they hated themselves or was unhappy enough to take their own life. It kind of like turns it from it takes away your sadness and allows you to be angry at someone instead.
Yeah,
so
and
that might have helped.
Courtney Love was like, it's like the whole Yoko Ono thing. Everybody hates Yoko Ono, and it's that's seeded in a whole bunch of complex things like misogyny and racism or whatever it is. And it's sad, but it is a normal reaction for people, I guess, the general public. So anyway, what are you going to do?
On that note, I was going to say that speaking of musical ownership, I saw an explanation. So Taylor Swift re-released her album, Fearless, I guess?
Yeah.
Are you familiar? So I saw an explainer thread on Twitter explaining why she did this, basically to like she tried buying back her back catalog, and what is it, like Scooter Braun's production company or something?
I don't even believe he owns it. I think he sold it.
He sold it to someone else.
Okay. But anyway, she basically, like, she still owned, and Marty, maybe you can break this down for me, but there's two kinds of rights on music. Like, one is...
There's actually three.
Okay.
So if you think of a CD as a 3-layered piece of ownership, the physical device itself, so the actual physical CD that you hold, if it was a blank CD and you owned that CD and you held it and I sold it to you, that would be like an example of part of the physical. So they call that physical. And then there's the like publishing royalty. So songs and lyrics, music and lyrics. So whoever wrote the music and lyrics and is licensed to be printed on that CD, that's the other layer. And then the performance. So that's the performing royalties would be streaming royalties, or performed on live music, or performed on film, TV, and radio. So those are the 3 layers. And so yeah, mechanicals, the physical product, and then streaming or publishing royalties. And I mean, so she doesn't own the physical recordings, the performance. She doesn't own her performance, so she can't control it. She can't print vinyl. She can't make those decisions. And I mean, you're kind of splitting here. I don't want to upset Taylor Swift fans, but
a lot of them listen to this podcast. You'd be surprised.
What I would say about Taylor Swift is I see her point, but I also don't, because, and this is sort of a similar and more controversial topic, the Harry and Meghan Oprah interview. Here's my opinion. Yes, the Queen or whoever said some really horrible things about Meghan and treated her horribly, but cry me a fucking river. You are living off of $7 million temporarily.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get, like, people, the proletariat, the regular working class person, gives nothing. Literally does not give a shit. I'm like, Taylor Swift, cry me a river. Like, you're a multi-millionaire. You're living the dream. You're making music, and
you have like 5 other #1 albums. Like, what?
Yeah, like, work it out. Call a lawyer and work it out somehow. Like, seriously, like, you could pay $10 million to get that shit figured out. Like, don't complain on Twitter. Like, you can complain to your friends, but it's a bit tone deaf when a rich person complains about not having control of making more money from something. Like, Jeff Bezos doesn't come out and complain a lot, thankfully.
I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Well, if he
where's my rocket ship?
Yeah, how come I can't get
He's
my...
building his own rocket ship.
Okay, there you go.
My Hyperloop can't be white because of a licensing issue. Oh, cry me a river. You know, it's like Meghan Markle. Oh no, I'm poor now. My kid's gonna have to go to private school. I don't get security guards. Well, I don't know. Like, you were marrying into the royal family. Like, it's like you're Taylor Swift. You're the #2 artist in the world right now. Like, who cares? Like, go move on. Create something new.
Can you pick your mic up?
I will say that.
No, just because you're getting a lot of scratch on your shirt.
Is that better?
Yeah, I was trying not to interrupt you, but it's
hold it as close to your mouth as possible.
Well, it's not closer to your mouth. It's just off your shirt. Sorry. I just wanted to stop you before we got into something else.
I was gonna say that Taylor Swift had her solution to the problem was an all-time fuck you to the rights holders, though, where she was basically just like, okay, I'm just gonna re-record and re-release this exact same album, and then I will have the rights to that version of the album.
But yeah, because she would own those masters. Yes.
Yeah.
So she would own the physical masters.
Well, that makes me wonder, like, every rights battle that musicians have had throughout the history of time, why didn't they just do that?
Because a lot of them would get sued because they're basically copying copyrighted material and passing it off. It's like how John Fogerty got sued because he sounded too much like Creedence Clearwater because he didn't own any of the rights to Creedence Clearwater, because it's like this. It's like one of those old school rights battles where his brother took all the rights and like finagled the paperwork and then sued him when he had his solo career because he sounded too much like the music that he had the rights for. And it's like, so the reason that like we haven't seen someone like Taylor Swift just re-record all their music is because they're still recording copyrighted music.
Dale coming in to win the millennial listeners with a Creedence Clearwater revival reference. Thanks, Dale.
Well, I don't think you're entirely correct on that, but I'll just assume you know more about it.
Don't ever assume.
I don't think it was Tom Fogerty suing his brother. I think it was Fantasy Records in that scenario. But
okay.
And by the way, that's what's really sad. It's talking about the music industry. One of the saddest rock and roll stories is Tom and John Fogerty.
Yeah.
They had a falling out, and then his brother died, and they didn't rectify it. Sad.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Well, moral of that story: don't ever fight with your brother.
Do you guys want to hear a good segue?
I was gonna make an in poor taste joke, but
no, make the in poor taste joke.
Well, the other moral of the story is don't give blood when the needles are tainted with HIV. So there you go. That's how Tom Fogarty.
Yeah, that's a good life lesson. Hopefully they've rectified the HIV needles thing.
Well, they have,
the
but that's a horrible story, but it is true. That actually did happen. So look, Google it. You have anything on your actual list?
Yeah.
Speaking of death,
do you want to get into the? Sure.
I got a segue because he said Meghan Markle complaining and people hating.
40 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is my segue.
Okay, all right.
I didn't want to interrupt him.
I'll allow it.
Okay, so talking about the Royals and how people are upset with what's going on and not really sympathizing with them. 109,741 complaints were received by the BBC for their coverage of Prince Philip's death from their listeners.
Why?
Because it's so funny because it happened on a Friday. Like, was that last Friday or the Friday before?
I forgot because he was so old. I was like, I thought he was already dead.
Yeah,
99 years old.
And also kind of
not even sad.
Like, even as far as the royal family goes, he's kind of irrelevant, right? Like,
yeah, he was like, I don't know. It's like something you'd have to get. I've heard it explained to me about how it fits in and how he didn't get to be king because he wasn't inbred enough or something. I'm not sure the ins and outs of it, but he was 99 years old. And the BBC did postpone EastEnders and the MasterChef finale for the season, and people got pissed.
I love MasterChef.
Yeah,
I'm
watching MasterChef right now.
I've never watched it, but I already like it better than Prince Philip.
Well, no, I ran out of TV shows, and I kind of wanted something with a little bit of a positive spin, and I love cooking shows because that's one of my hobbies at home. I like to bake and cook, and so I've been watching a lot of baking shows, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole. But yeah, I'd be choked too, man. Who cares about him? He's 99.
We started watching.
Why do we have a royalty anymore? Come on.
Well, I feel like that's a really good kind of like a bellwether for like how irrelevant the royal family is that British people are complaining that they were covering Prince Philip's death, where like British people live and die by the fucking royal family. And they always have, as far as I know. And now it's basically they're the ones complaining, say they would rather watch MasterChef, which I'm not. Do they have a UK version, or are we?
Yeah, no, it's the UK version.
Okay, sure. MasterChef UK. Oh yeah, it is. By the way, MasterChef Kids we've started watching recently with Noah, just to like try and get him into cooking. And he's big into that, so you should definitely watch that with
we watch all this. We watch the Great British Baking Show, the Great Canadian Baking Show. These are fantastic TV shows for kids and for adults alike.
And if you ever want to feel bad about your lack of cooking skill, like even like I can cook ish, but I see the stuff they make on those shows and I'm like, well, what the fuck? I'm never gonna do that.
It literally starts with the recipe. So you don't become an expert overnight. You practice and learn and grow, and it's fantastic. I love it. And baking is fun, man. It feels like making a loaf of bread. All these people making loaves of bread during COVID-19. I'm one of them. I did it. It feels good. It's awesome.
I did it for the first like couple months, and then I just ended up with a fridge full of discarded sourdough starter, and I was like, well, fuck that. Like I'm not gonna keep baking bread every week for the rest of my life. So I stopped doing it.
Yeah, I don't do it every day, but I did it. I made cinnamon buns for the first time over Christmas, and I was making loaves of bread and focaccia bread and stuff. And we're gonna hopefully make pasta finally. But our kitchen was being renovated, so we couldn't bake anything. It sucked. But I don't know, something fun about it's something. I get it. I get why everybody's doing it. I'm doing it, so I get it. You can't go out for dinner. What are you gonna do? Look up a recipe that's weird and try it out. It's fun. It's fun. But yeah, screw the royals. Like, who cares about those people? I respect the royalty and I respect the history, and I also think it's time to back away a little bit. Like the thing with like, this is kind of more of a monarchy high level conversation, but a coworker of mine, we're talking, and in the United States, they don't have that like high level of morale, the moral compass that the Queen gives you. Like the Queen is theoretically the head of the Anglican Church, right? So in England, they have this moral compass all the time. So you have Boris or Bojo, but you have the Queen who's going to make sure that Bojo doesn't cock it up, as they would say. And in Canada, sort of.
Yeah,
too.
I would hope that Boris Johnson is not anyone's moral compass, because I don't know.
No, he's not a moral. He's not a moral compass at all.
Do we still have our lieutenant general, or was that what? I thought we like didn't have that person for a bit, because like Canada is still technically under the Queen, and then there's
GG,
like a go between Trudeau and the Queen, and then
the governor general.
Yeah. I don't think our GG actually phones her up. Hey, Queen.
Yeah.
Since the Canadian GG calling, I'm just have a quick question. Justin wants to know if we could pass this bill. I don't think that happens.
I think there's it's like someone from one of the Queen's representatives calls the GG and is like, we don't like this, change it. But they've pretty much haven't really. Yeah. They haven't done anything with it. It's kind of like a formality that's just from the way back times that's kind of still on the books that they don't use. But it's supposedly everything that Trudeau does is supposed to meet the Queen, because he's supposed to like somehow be like the people's representative to the Queen, just like Boris is. But it's kind of like we've gone away from it, but we're still not fully independent. So if the Queen were to want to like impose her will on Canada, it would be like the GG supposed to be like a go-between.
Yeah, and none of those rules actually are used. If we got some crazy populist leader like other countries have had in the last 5 years.
If we had a Trump, maybe they would.
I didn't say that, but yeah, you can use that word. If we had somebody like that, I feel like those are the rules that they would flex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they would flex those old rules that are like nobody's used in hundreds of years, but they would use them because they would say, well, we can, and all Canadians would be like, oh shit.
It's like a last ditch emergency. Like how about instead of Trump, if we got a Bolsonaro? He's the guy from Brazil.
Would it happen in Canada? I don't know. I can see it happening in the US again.
I can see it happening here.
With what's going on in Ontario and Alberta, I can see
even Rob. Wait, no, the other one, Doug Ford.
Doug.
Got
the one who's basically
like he's a populist candidate. We do see like this like wave of populism that has helped get some leaders elected. I don't know if it'll happen on the national level, but
the only way it would happen in Canada is if it was a Quebecois. Like Maxime Bernier, somebody like him.
Yeah.
Did you see what Ford did today?
Yes, I did.
Which will hurt his. He's back.
Do you want to segue? Are you segueing, Dave?
I feel like I cut Marty off and then he went away, so I don't want to. Are you? Can I segue, Marty?
Segue.
Okay. So in Ontario, speaking of governments, but it's Rob or is it Doug?
Rob's dead.
Doug Ford.
Rob was the man of the people.
Would you consider him like the populist leader / overly conservative?
He's just a conservative leader.
So anyways, he did the most conservative thing ever, and he basically put Ontario in a harsher lockdown than they've ever been through this entire pandemic. And they're putting up check stops at the borders between Manitoba and Quebec. And it's weird because the article says they're giving police more power. And it seems like super vague. And once you see the police getting more power, you're like, ooh, we're in a police state now.
That's in phase one. That's kind of what happened in BC, wasn't it? It was like that. I mean, Ontario. I don't know if Ontario had a phase one like we did, because we had a hardcore shutdown, as you guys remember.
They did,
I'm sure.
But they did now the things that it's basically the same phase one we had, but the extra things are there's the check stops between the provinces, and now cops can the extra power they said is they can stop any car or person and be like, what's your name? Where are you going? Why are you out of your house? Like they've given cops basically free reign to just stop whoever they want.
So
But in Ontario, just so you know, they have a stop and frisk in places like Hamilton. Just so you know, so it's not new there actually.
Wow. Doug went out and made these claims in his press conference, and there's a thread on Twitter right now where they're collecting police departments in Ontario, municipal police departments, saying they are not going to be enforcing that. Nice. And that they're not going to be basically like, asking people for proof of what they live. So they're already like coming out and kind of kneecapping the message and saying we're not going to enforce this. But
in their defense, and sorry to interrupt, but I mean, like, it's not like it's been any different in BC. I mean, shutting down parties in people's penthouses is not really any different to me. The police were given power in BC too, but I think it was more subtle. And I think like everything's optics, in my opinion. Like you shouldn't be holding a rave in your penthouse with a bartender and strippers right now.
Well,
right?
That one.
Normally people maybe did that. Instead, they just went to the Roxy or something. But now they're like, well, let's have it at our house. But then they get fined. Like each person got fined $250. So there's 100 people there. Figure it out. But I didn't see a real problem with. I didn't see a problem with what Ontario did today. I think it's people are just tired, like COVID-19 exhaustion. Everybody's tired. I'm tired of it.
So now we have, in Canada specifically, we have cases ramping up. People just basically reaching the end of their shit, and we're seeing like vaccinations in the US and how the rollout's going there, and where you can feel this like building anticipation that like we're almost past this thing. So people are getting more frustrated at it not ending, and at the same time, that's kind of coming to a head with the strictest. Sorry, my dishwasher's singing at me, and it totally threw me off my shit. Coming to a head with some of the strictest regulations that we've seen yet, and lockdown measures, and like I don't know how this is going to play out. Like I would not be surprised if we see some of the same limitations put into place in BC over the next, because like we see the same thing here, like cases are ramping up, we have variants.
I totally agree with you, and I do think that the vaccines give us a layer, and when I say we, I mean the world, not just Canada or the US or whoever. I think that the vaccines have given us this layer of, oh, this is over. But I mean, I looked at the case numbers from India yesterday, and there's 250,000, the highest number ever. And so I would caution anyone from feeling like this is over until it's over. If that makes that's vague and sort of a little bit peace and love. You make
a very good point.
It's not over till it's over. Even if 100% of the entire population of the world was vaccinated, there may still be variants. This may just continue for a number of years until everybody's had it a few times.
Yeah,
you don't really get sick and you don't really die. It just it kind of slowly peters out, right?
They're saying we're going to need a booster shot every year now. Like,
the Pfizer CEO came on the record and he said you're going to need a third shot of their vaccine in about 6 months if you want to keep up your immunity. And you could tell
did the stock bump up? Did anybody look that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, every 6 months we just need a little.
It looks like you need another booster, world.
Who could have saw that coming?
And our stock prices are soaring.
But you could see that like world leaders are kind of trying to like hedge their bets and be like, okay, yes, we know people are getting vaccinated and everyone's ready to get back to normal, but like don't make those travel plans. Like maybe hold off a little bit, because like you said, Bart, like even once everyone's vaccinated, everything can happen. Like this thing can take a hard left turn into variant, and it's totally resistant to everyone's vaccinations that we've gotten so far.
Early on there was some concern. I don't know if you read about this. There's some concern that it mutates like HIV mutates. It shares some characteristics.
They're saying in India right now it's mutated. Like they're not even calling it a variant anymore. They're saying it's a mutation. So double
a double mutation is the term. Just so you know, that's the storyline of the week. Which by the way, I'm like probably in the middle of, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like eye roll, and also let's be safe, guys.
It's hard.
It's
really
hard
every day.
It's really hard, and like the mental health aspect of this. I'm pretty good because I have 2 kids at home. My wife's at home. We co-own with her parents, and so we have we have like a group of people here, so I feel like there's some level of normalcy. Although it feels like just every day is a Tuesday.
I'll be right
It's
back.
like, oh, cool, another Tuesday.
Just like eternal.
Eternal
Where did he just go?
Hi, Dale.
All right, see you, Dale.
Oh, he's turning a light on. No, it's just, you know what I mean? It's like every day is the same.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Like groundhog, and not like a particularly meaningful day. Although like at least the sun has been shining in Vancouver lately, which I think should buoy people's spirits a little bit.
Totally. I barbecued some burgers tonight. It was
Nice.
fun. It was
All right.
fun.
All right.
And I'm talking to you guys.
What could be better?
Stuff.
The Leafs could be you know what? The Leafs could be playing tomorrow night.
I don't know.
The Leafs could be playing tomorrow night.
They could, but
don't bring up hockey in Canuck Town.
Forfeit.
Hey,
do we want to talk about
Oilers could be playing tonight?
JT
Miller. Let's talk about JT Miller
kicking both the league, the players union, and his own team in the dick simultaneously.
Yeah.
For those of you listening,
skates on.
I have a complex sort of feeling about that because as you guys, you guys all know that I'm a huge hockey fan. I'm a Leafs fan, but also a hockey fan. I'm also a Canucks fan.
Leafs.
But I do feel that I feel like you just have to, like Dallas rolled with it. Other teams have rolled with it. Colorado's got to roll with it. Like you got to get to the end of the games. So like, yes, you're not ready. Maybe you'll get injured and maybe you'll lose, but who cares? Just play. Like, it's kind of like in the middle of the tour when you're playing a city where there's nobody there. It's like, who cares? Just get up there and play the songs. You have no choice.
Just do it anyway.
Yeah. How Vancouver is it to be like, oh, we don't feel like we're ready and it's not fair to make us play? And it's like, you're in second last place in the division. It's not going to matter. You're not going to make the playoffs. Just fucking play your taxi squad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they should have just played because what they're doing is delaying the inevitable and actually causing possible injury down the line when they have to play 19 games in 30 days.
Well, yeah, that's what they were.
It wasn't a smart move. I get where JT Miller's coming from, but he's been kind of in the doghouse with the fan base this whole season. Maybe fans like him a bit more now, although Benning's been talking about trading him. So I don't know. Maybe he's just angry to begin with. I get it, dude. It sounds like Bo Horvat's wife and child, who is maybe immunocompromised, tested positive, which that's scary. But the other thing I'll say, to go back to COVID-19, and the media always talking about it's dangerous. Well, is it dangerous? Is that the right term you want to use? Like dangerous. Is that an appropriate term for COVID-19 based on science and statistics and evidence? I don't think so. And I don't think a 23-year-old athlete in peak condition should have anything to worry about. Yes, their grandparents should, but as long as they isolate and are careful.
That's one of the things, though, because this was the Brazilian variant, and there's one of the big things was they're talking about Hughes getting like effed up from it, and like he's on IVs and he's feeling it really badly. So they're saying like one of the reasons that, like, I'm just saying I feel kind of bad for them because one of the reasons they're saying that this is affecting them more than, say, Dallas, who had this right at the beginning of the season, is that it is the Brazilian variant, which seems to be affecting younger people more than the classic Chinese OG strain. So,
and I mean, I am going to say that, like, you know,
Fine.
I watched a full NFL season where they were not in a bubble. They did not take a lot of safety measures. A lot of players in the NFL contracted COVID, and a lot of them did not look the same when they came back. Even like, you know, we're talking that these are like elite athletes at the top of their game. And for it to hit them, and I gotta assume they generally had mild cases because they were younger people, but like the body of evidence saying that like this virus has effects on the body that like
fine, by the way, fine, but wouldn't you agree that, you know, a 22-year-old sitting in front of an Xbox for 2 weeks is probably not going to be as good
as a dream
football player as he was 2 weeks before when he was
when he was training and shit.
Like those guys have been off the ice for 2 weeks, so
they're not training. They're not. That was JT's point. JT's point was they're not training. I think that's his biggest point. Yeah, COVID-19. Yes, I didn't know about Hughes, and God bless him. I hope he gets better. And I think Bo's kid, who has an immune because he's young. He's like 1 or 2, has some kind of.
Horvat said they were fine. It's funny that you brought up Horvat because Horvat's like, we're ready to go. And he was like, he did say, we're ready to go. Let's go. He's like, we are ready to go, but I feel bad for everybody. And I was really scared because I gave it to my wife and my kid and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing that captain thing where he's trying to dance that fine line between
he's middle management. He wants to serve, his bosses, but he also wants to make sure his.
I think maybe that, yes, I think so. I think you're being too nice. I think he's probably the guy who wants to get going. He knows that they're not going to make the play. I mean, don't get me wrong.
They're not going to. Marty, we're not delusional here. They're not going to make the playoffs.
I would like them to. No, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan of a number of their players, and I'm not a fan of their GM. I think they should fire him in the offseason, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
But
why couldn't he get the COVID?
Yeah.
Stale.
But if he did, it wouldn't matter because he would, who cares? He'd be, I don't know. Would he even notice? I don't know.
He would get those Trump drugs.
He can't check his voicemail. How could?
Yeah.
Would he even get? How do I check for COVID? You want to give me 3.5 million? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it, Jim Benning. My name's Nate Pearson. I'm a fourth liner. I have 5 goals this year. Oh my God. Yeah. That's 1 million per goal, buddy. Go Canucks, go.
Fuck.
I don't know. I feel bad for Canucks fans for that reason, the Jim Benning reason.
Oh, it's that times what? 12 of those deals over the last 5 years.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a large portion of the Canucks fan base, just this, by the way, everyone listening, this is a sports podcast now. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, Sports Factory.
Fucking
rage about sports.
About sports specifically.
I'd be a better GM.
I mean, I don't know how the guy does.
Drance is coming up later.
A large portion of the fucking Canucks fan base is giving this guy a pass for the past hour, and it's because I think he fiddles just enough to give people the illusion that the team is remaining competitive. But
it's Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes are the only reason he still has his job.
What makes me what I think happened, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I just read Leaf Sports, and there are, by the way, Canucks fans on Leaf Sports.
Why?
I think for the same reasons that a lot of Toronto fans really respect the Vancouver model, which is get elite talent and it's fun to watch and you get these youthful players. And I think a lot of Leafs fans really love Travis Green and think fondly about Pat Quinn and Alexander McGillney and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but I think the thing that happened with the Canucks was they had Trevor Linden as a president. And he wanted to do a real rebuild, and the Aquilinis, the owners, said no, and they fired him. And Jim Benning they knew they could control him, so he's there.
Yeah, he's just putting fucking cement in potholes, pretty much.
I think Trevor was the one who wanted to pull the strings and make it happen for real. And I think the fan base in Vancouver is a little fickle, though. If they lose, they lose. A little
fickle.
Well. And by the way, I'm saying that with love. I mean, Leafs fans are the most friggin' annoying on earth, but
yeah, that's why everybody
they
hates
never
the
wanted
Leafs.
to rebuild. They did not want to rebuild for 40 years. They did not want to do a full rebuild. And when they finally did, guess what? It actually started to work. So now we're here, we're where we are, right? And so
yeah, that's because everybody wants to be a Leaf so bad that
right now, but
oh, that's the dream. I'll go play in Toronto.
10 years ago, no, though, it was the opposite. Nobody wanted to play in that dumpster fire, right?
Play with Austin Matthews and John Tavares.
His mustache.
Well, now, yeah, of course, it's awesome. Yeah. Mitch will pass it to you, and then you'll score 80 goals. It's amazing. Having the Sedin era was like that. Mm-hmm. They would pass it to Burrows, and he would score 35 goals.
Yep. Just bounce it in. Anson Carter got fucking 30, over 30 goals.
No, it wasn't Burrow's talent. It was just the Sedins were that good. Right?
Yeah.
So, when you are a player who is not good but gets along with guys and fits in the room, and it's I can make way more money if I can get on that team and get on the first line. Mm-hmm. Louis Eriksson, he played with Bergeron. Why do you think he makes so much money? Because he played on a line with Bergeron. Scored 30 goals. It's obvious to me.
So the Canucks need to get Bergeron.
Yeah, that
Eriksson will be good.
next answer to is throw $8 million a season at Bergeron.
Yeah,
get him over.
Well,
here.
no, they need to get this kid out, and I don't know his name. You can Google it. It's the guy who's going to go first next. I think it's next year or 2023. You can Google it. You're on.
Oh, the 15-year-old in the WHL right now.
Yeah, whoever wins the lottery that year basically gets the next McDavid. He's looks like he's going to be the next McDavid. So
yeah, he was like last time I checked, he had like 18 goals in 14 games, and he's 15 playing with like 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
He's the youngest WHL player almost.
Oh yeah, he's from here. He's from North Shore Winter Club, right?
Yeah. I want to say ever, but there's probably somewhere back in the 70s or something.
Sports Talk Radio.
Hey, you know what's the best thing about sports talk? When you don't know all the stuff and you're like, yeah, this kid.
Yeah,
there's a guy who is from North Man, I think, but I'm not sure.
I think he broke a record. I could be wrong.
Hey, speaking of sports things, you wrote about this in the fucking the lead in for the episode, so figured we should touch on it. The Canada has unveiled their, what are these, the closing ceremony outfits?
Yeah, their closing ceremony outfits.
Olympics.
I like it.
Are we still doing Tokyo Olympics? Is that still what they're talking about?
Nah, I would honestly be surprised at this point if it happened. I mean, My Chemical Romance canceled their 2021 tour, and if My Chemical Romance knows that, damn, why are you making a face? If My Chemical Romance
still a band
knows that it's unsafe, this was going to be their reunion tour. Then I gotta say,
anti-vaxxers or something.
Yeah, it's just like fuck.
Black Parade. It's a Black Parade. You're like literally gonna die. We don't care. Vaccines don't exist.
So they just canceled their tour plans, or delayed them until 2022. So I can't see the fucking Olympics going off. Japan's getting hit by like a fourth wave right now. These things are supposed to happen in.
They had 3,000 or 4,000 cases yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it. Not to break everyone's hearts, but I would honestly be surprised. Just the logistics necessary, because you got to pull the plug on this thing relatively far out, right? Like you can't just like wait. You can't wait until the day of and then be like, yeah, sorry guys, we can't hold the Olympics this year. Yeah,
no Olympics, guys. Domo arigato or whatever that means. No Olympics. Mr. Roboto, no Olympic. I feel bad for the Japanese. I was listening to a bit about what they were going through, like they're having problems getting the testing measures in place and stuff. It's like, just give up.
Yeah, because that's a whole other level, right? Like you need to get all the athletes there, and you either need to get everyone vaccinated, and like not just the athletes, but like the entourages that travel with them, and coaches, trainers, fucking all the people necessary to pull this off. And then you got to either get everyone to quarantine or get everyone vaccinated and make sure they all like fucking stay put and don't go outside of the Olympic. Like I don't think it happens.
Yeah, and then you got to deal with the athletes coming from other countries, like say Brazil, who hasn't taken enough like steps to stop the spread of the disease and stuff. So it'd be like, would you want like Canadian athletes mixing with Brazilian athletes and getting like, I guess the Brazilian strain's already here, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't even think it's the athletes. I think there's at least 2 or 3 people with each athlete. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember Team Canada, the staggering amount of people that were with Team Canada for Sochi. It was a large amount of people. It wasn't like we have 100 athletes, but it was more like, holy shit, there's 1,500 people.
Yeah,
what are all those people doing? We only had 85 people competing, but there was 1,500 of them going. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people involved.
Yeah. So
I don't think it'll get canceled though. I really don't. I honestly do not.
All right. We'll have a gentleman's wager on it.
No. We'll have
$5 it's getting canceled.
We'll do it. We'll do an old-fashioned
farmer's
Dutch
bet.
A Dutch farmer's bet where there's no money involved.
Oh, you just insult each other.
Slandered Dale's people. Yeah. Kick each other with wooden shoes.
Yeah. Your Stroop is terrible. Get out of here.
So Canada revealed
you're not marrying my daughter anymore, young man. stuff like
Your
that.
wooden shoes will crack.
Jesus Christ. Canada revealed their outfits for this closing ceremony.
I love it. I don't care.
And it's
That's my
you know,
answer.
I'm gonna say it's quintessentially Canadian.
You know what my favorite part about it is? It's
The jean
denim on
jacket?
denim.
It's a denim jacket. It's like a like stonewash denim jacket. Like
It looks
straight
like
out
my
of the
actual
80s.
denim jacket that I wear.
Yeah.
I'm like,
have like
I could
fake-
paint stuff on it, and it would be just like that.
Yeah, and it's
fake
got like
graffiti
graffiti
on
on it.
It's cool,
very,
man.
very you know, it is very fashion forward for Canada. I will say that much.
Fashion forward for 1987.
And
Canada.
then I mean that's where we are in terms of our fashion evolution. We're about 40 years behind the runway. But they totally fucking missed. So in the promo photo they sent around, it's the stonewash denim and on white denim. And I think they should have just gone
white Levi's,
full Canadian tuxedo and done like matching shades, like denim all the way down, all in one shade. Maybe even like a denim unitard would have been pretty sick.
And then a Jaws shirt underneath for Gordy. For Gord. That one's for Gord.
Okay, Derek, do you want to know how much they cost? Because I looked this up.
What the actual, like if we want to
Take
buy
my
one
money,
ourselves,
$1,000.
or
The outfit for you, because they sell them at the Bay online.
Yeah.
Actually, as much as we're trashing the jackets and the pants, the hats that they're selling are pretty cool and they're on sale, so you should check it out. But to get the denim on denim ensemble is like $310 because the jackets are $189 and the white Levi's are $120.
So wait,
Isn't
do
that
they
bad?
have the full outfit for sale?
Yeah,
on the bay.com.
yeah, you could buy it all. You could, and the best part is
affiliate links in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the picture, but they have like a track jacket that makes I don't know what it's made out of, but it looks like looks like pleather or something.
Oh, Dale, it's on sale right now. It's down.
Oh,
the men's Olympic team collection denim jacket is on sale, down from $198 to $148. I'm gonna throw it in the comments on Facebook here.
Does it come in double XL? Because we should get a set.
We should get a set.
Or we should make fucking Outrage Factory denim jackets.
Oh.
Marty, would you wear an Outrage Factory denim jacket? I'll wear a Marty Zylstra denim jacket if you wear an Outrage Factory jacket.
Do you have t-shirts already?
Yeah, you could get them at Redbubble. I just did that so I wouldn't have to go to the post office box. It's like you just go to Redbubble and you pick the design and then you order it. And then
I can't wait to own one.
Anything. Yeah.
I can't wait to own one.
The best thing is going to be when the Olympics don't happen and all this shit is on thebay.com for like 20% of its normal price.
But remember when the Olympics was here and everybody was like, "Oh man, we should get some Olympics gear." And then
I was like, money on Olympics gear.
I'm not going to. And then now somebody's wearing one of the Olympics shirts and you're like, "I roll. That's stupid."
You idiot. You moron.
You just like you don't even break out my say it.
My Canada gloves from time to time.
Nerd.
I had all right. Tough but fair.
I don't know any Olympics here. Although I was gonna purchase one of their hats and and the best part is to go with the denim jacket, you could get a short sleeve hoodie with the same like graffiti design. If you're listening to this audio, I'm gonna put pictures of this in the video, so just go to YouTube, do a little searchy for Outrage Factory, and all these outfits will be like, I'll put the picture in the video so you can
or just Google it.
Looking at these,
just Google it.
Yeah, Google
jackets
it real time.
Again, like the other countries are gonna think we're so fucking cool.
They are
just looking at this, and they'll probably be like, I hope they're in. Although you said this is closing ceremony, not opening ceremony, right?
Dude, could you imagine if they played fucking like an EDM remix of Corey Hart when they were wearing these fucking jackets? Ooh, we'll be so fucking cool. Oh, dude, Deadmau5 remix of Corey Hart songs? Yes.
Jesus
yes.
Christ.
Somebody or Marty Zylstra. He's an excellent
There you go.
Canadian artist.
Marty, you recently had a song played on Hockey Night in Canada. Is that correct?
I sure did. Yeah, true.
Cool.
Oh my
That's
God.
got to be like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. Dale, you go ahead.
I was gonna say,
Hall & Oates, dreams come true. You make my dreams come true.
Yeah.
Right?
We're gonna get.
Do you get that? If you get that reference, hopefully you get the reference.
I don't.
You make my dreams come true. That's the goal song for the Leafs.
Oh, I was gonna say if we get a GoFundMe, because I was gonna say if we get you this outfit, but I don't want to spend $300 on a joke. If we get you the pants and the jacket and maybe a hat, will you do your next music video wearing them?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God!
I mean,
and then you
Sorry, I
should
just
set
gotta
it
shut
to.
my monitor. The kids are crying. I gotta shut the monitor off.
Just turn the monitor.
I'm in my bedroom.
The solution isn't soothe the kids. It's turn the monitor off.
I love it.
No.
I approve.
No. The other management is dealing with it.
Management.
Oh.
Nice.
Nice.
I gotta plug my phone in too. It's gonna die.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been.
Oh, it died.
Oh, all right. Well,
Cool.
bye, Marty.
Hold on. I'm gonna open up the.
See you, Marty.
Participants. Can he just pop back in?
Later, Marty.
I can't remember this. Here, I'll open up the Facebook chat. This is how the sausage is made, everybody. You want a behind the scenes look at what it's like to podcast? Here you go.
At least you gave us the heads up. Hey, we're probably going to edit this whole part out, right?
No.
Oh.
People
was
love
gonna-
this stuff. It makes
I
it
was
seem
gonna
like
say-
it's more real.
I was going to
you-
go pee.
Oh. I mean, we're still live, so
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
Is anyone watching?
We started late. There was. Hold on, let me.
Well,
look.
it's funny because I was going to
There's
say
3 eyeballs
right
Oh,
before.
your girlfriend's watching.
Yeah. Wife.
Yeah.
We're married.
Oh yeah. Ooh, don't tell her I said that.
I was gonna say right before he popped off, I was just gonna ask him what he was angry about and do our regular shtick there and then wrap it up. But now we've probably got to wait 5 to 10 minutes for him to plug his phone in, unless he just never bothers coming back.
I don't know, because we had trouble getting him on in the first place because he couldn't. Because if anybody's wondering why we started late, it's Marty's fault. Now that he's not here to defend himself,
Yeah.
I'll just say it.
That piece of shit.
He couldn't get in with his computer, which happens, which is the most annoying part about podcasting, is sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. Like you could hear a couple episodes where my mic sounds like shit, and that was not my fault because I didn't realize it was recording off the laptop instead of my headset mic. That is the podcast whatever's fault. So what happened was he couldn't get his video working on his laptop, so he went to his phone. Then he couldn't get in with his phone. Then I had to send him like an invite link instead. I don't know. It's
a
weird,
riveting story.
Yeah. Hey, people are interested in podcasting. I mean, there's like, I think somebody said there's like 50 million podcasts or whatever.
Something like that.
There's like more starting every day, but I want to see the number of podcasts that get to episode 167 like we are.
Very few. I think most people come to their senses and give up before then. Okay, I'm gonna pee. Do a monologue or something.
Okay, I'm monologue. Oh wait, he's back. He's coming back.
Okay,
wait.
Okay,
How about we get him back and I'll ask him what he's angry about and then you go pee.
Okay.
Because should I tell the story about Sasquatch and the guy at work?
What?
Oh, there he is. Are you
there
back?
He is. Wait, connecting to audio.
Oh.
This is good. This is good podcasting.
This is the pod that everybody's wants.
This is good.
Oh. Do you think his kids cried so loud they broke his phone?
Yeah.
It was karma for him just turning off the monitor.
It can interfere with the Wi-Fi.
It's like, yeah. It's like the reverse
child screams like a superpower.
Electromagnetic shit.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Hey!
Welcome back to guest.
How are you?
Marty Zylstra.
My phone died.
Oh,
we noticed.
Nice.
It was as you were saying, I need to plug my phone in.
Yeah, it might die, and then it died. Derek, do you want to go pee or do you want to just?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna ask him first, and then I'm gonna go pee while we're discussing. You can edit all this out, but Marty, so we're getting close to to wrapping it up here, but we always like to ask our guests, what is something that you personally are angry about right now, either online or offline? Feel free to share with Dale while I go urinate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm angry at tons of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like we all are, really.
The biggest thing I'm angry at, not like angry. I'm like angry that we haven't figured out in the world yet that everything we're trying isn't working. Like to fix homelessness, to fix climate change, to fix like people don't have access to healthcare. I mean, the thing that I'm angriest about these days is healthcare. I just think the Canadian healthcare system has so much potential, but it makes me angry. And I mean, Derek probably would chime in on this. The fact that doctors' offices use fax machines as an example of just not using technology.
Still?
We're not using technology that we have, and Canada's slow on that. It's dumb, dude.
I mean,
so that makes me angry.
That's almost what makes Canada charming in some ways, is that we're like, it's like we pretend like we're neck and neck with the States and we're right there, but we're kind of like the cousin from a small town who like my mom still has dial-up internet and it's 2021. Like that's what Canada is it's like, it's not all Vancouver, Toronto, and whatever cities, Calgary and
Edmonton,
anyways, yeah.
There's other cities.
Yeah, but it's not all the big cities is what you get represented. Like there's so much of Canada which is just shitty and rural and podunk. And I'm sorry if I hurt everybody's feelings, but there are tiny towns in Canada, and that's where a lot of people live. And it's like, yeah, like Marty said, they're using fax machines and shit because they don't have access to like enough good internet.
So it's old technology. We're not advancing technology to solve some of Canada's problems, I guess. Derek, I'm most angry about Canadian healthcare, which I mean you can relate to, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like, and you have an absolutely valid reason to be. Did we just lose him again?
Yeah, I think so. What's his reason?
What?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, he's still here. Marty, you can share the story if you want, but like, yeah, I understand. And I was like, I'm a huge proponent of the Canadian healthcare system to an extent. Like, I think having socialized healthcare is a necessity for a lot of people who couldn't get care otherwise. And I don't think like there's got to be a happy medium between the system we have here and like a completely for-profit system. But having it solely mandated by essentially by the government, and the way our healthcare system operates is it's basically become an exercise in like how do we operate in the best interests of saving the healthcare system versus how do we operate in the best interests of the people that we serve, because you don't want to overwhelm the healthcare system. And that's never been more apparent than like in this fucking pandemic, where a lot of people who have been waiting for completely necessary surgeries or procedures or tests or things they would need otherwise can't get them because everything's just been put on hold because of the pandemic, which is fair, but it's going to take a long ass time for those people to get the care they need once everything goes back.
Yeah, I would say that I 1,000% agree. I think Canadian healthcare was already 10% overloaded, maybe more, maybe 50% overloaded capacity. And then you throw in, we need 500 beds in every single city for COVID. And we're seeing why we should have upgraded. Every chart in Canada should be electronic on an iPad. Every doctor's office should be using an online shared booking system where every single treater can access that. We don't have that in Canada. It's all a piece of paper through a fax machine. And I just recently went through something where I phoned my doctor a year ago and said I was having these problems. She ran me through an ultrasound. They found nothing. I did some research online. A year later, I get another scan because my doctor didn't know about it. My doctor did not know about a scan. That doesn't happen anywhere else. That happens in Canada.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in the United States. In the United States, they test everything. They won't let you go until they find out what the problem is.
Well, that's because they make money off every test they do.
And by the way, I'm not saying the U.S. has the best system. I just think that they have a great system if you have money. And the middle class has some money in the United States. And Canada that has a large middle class too. And I think, I'm not saying poor people or marginalized people don't deserve healthcare in any way. I just think that there is an argument for a pay system or
a tiered system. Yeah.
Where your private insurance company, if you want to, because you can already do this through your private extended healthcare, you can get dental care. You know, poor people don't get dental care because they don't have extended health at work. Well, I do. I have extended health, you know? And so why should I not be able to get one MRI every 5 years through my extended plan?
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know?
Well, like, so when
it's illegal right now in Canada.
It is. Which is the craziest thing. Like that was something I found out when I was having my spinal issues, is that I thought like, okay, I had hit the end of my rope and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to start a GoFundMe and I'm going to beg for money and I'm going to see if I can get a procedure done or if I can like take out a loan and pay it back for this. And so I started emailing some private clinics in the Vancouver area, and they were like, no, the law had just recently passed where they had been allowed to operate until recently. And then now it's just like outright banned. There are no, it is illegal for them to provide private health services in Canada. And when I was dealing with my back shit, it was like I went and paid. I was so desperate for like any relief at all. I went and paid $4,000 out of pocket to a chiropractor for some like laser therapy and like spine stretching that did absolutely nothing to help me. Whereas if I was American and I had decent insurance, which I do through my job, I could have gone and gotten the treatment that I needed right away for my deductible, which would have been like what, a few $100s, maybe $1,000 top. So in a lot of ways, the system we have now ends up costing people more, either in lost wages or in quality of life or in like in the alternative treatments they seek, rather than just giving them the option of paying for insurance or paying for a private provider to help them out.
Yeah, like what Marty was saying about the dental thing, that's a really good point. It's like I have extended healthcare through my job too, but I still have to pay like every month for it. Like it's not like my company pays for it or whatever. So I'm paying like, I don't know, like $80 a month. So on top of that, I should be able, like Derek said, like just pay a deductible. Like if I need, I don't know, surgery or anything, or I want to go outside of the bounds, like I should be able to go pay. But it's like I get what they're trying to do. Like they're trying to make it so that it doesn't become like a have-nots for like treatment and stuff. But it's like, that's only good if people are still getting treatment. Like if you're trying to stop just the rich getting treated and the poor people not getting treated, you can't have nobody getting treated. So it's fair. Like it should go the other way where it's like more people all around are getting treated, because like there is something broken.
Technically, if you're rich, you could still get treated. You literally leave Canada, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So the one thing, like, and I totally agree. It sounds like we're all on the same page here. My number one thing about public healthcare in Canada is the problem is it's public. So a public system is never good at innovating. So we're never going to be the country that moves healthcare forward. We're never going to move like the efficiencies of the clerical stuff. Like our systems aren't going to be the best, and our file management systems aren't going to be the best, and our like efficiencies aren't going to be the best, even though they should be, because everybody's on an equal platform, right? So without a for-profit element, you can't become a more efficient system. And so I think that's the fatal flaw with Canadian healthcare, is that there isn't somebody innovating and making it a more efficient and quicker system and better system. Like if I walk in a hospital, theoretically, I should triage. They scan my card, I get a thing, and then I go do an x-ray, and then I do a CT scan, I do blood work, and then I do this, and then I do this. Now the doctor has a chart electronically that they can flip through. Okay, what are your symptoms? here's all the information I need, right? All the scans, every single person should be scanned immediately. Like, you can get an ultrasound machine on an iPhone now. Like, it's 2021, you know, you don't need a fax machine. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no, private insurance, you should be able to private insurance, buy top up private insurance in Canada, and you can.
Yeah.
Well, like, so, and whenever you talk about that, and if you start mentioning that, then like Canadians absolutely, like the healthcare system in Canada is almost a point of national pride for Canadians, no matter how inefficient and shoddily run it is. It's something that we have that differentiates us from the United States. So you start talking about introducing a tiered system or private insurance or private care, and people start trotting out these stories of like people who rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical debt in the United States just doing something like having a kid. And those stories, they exist, absolutely, but they aren't representative of the bigger picture, and they're not any more representative of that system than
it's
than these stories of it is. And you hear, and then you see the other side in the States when they talk about introducing socialized healthcare. People will talk about how people in Canada are waiting years to have procedures, and like these are extreme examples that people invoke to not have to maybe incorporate elements or do things differently. But I don't think either one is like, there's a whole big fucking world of happy medium between their system and ours. And I think we need to start moving.
I gotta say,
I totally agree.
I gotta cut in and say, like, if you don't need surgery or like an elective procedure, Canada's healthcare is fucking amazing. Like, any one of us could just go to emergency and be like, I hurt myself, please fix it, and they'll fix it and send you on your way. Like,
but so, like, okay, so forget the elite,
upper
class in the United States, and forget the poor. And there, by the way, those people, I want them to have healthcare too. I'm not saying I don't, but a regular Joe like you and the three of us walk into a hospital in the United States. We have extended health through our work. We walk into the hospital, we get the same treatment, probably better than somebody in Canada. And so, sure, it's great that we can go to the hospital anytime we want, theoretically, but in the United States, we would anyway, because we're upper middle class,
a very good point.
Canadians. Yeah. We're Caucasian dudes, you know, we already have it all. I was going to
bring that up, but
I'm not saying that I want it better. I want it better for me because the people in the United States like me have it better. But I do think that, like, one thing that I'm talking about is like removing biases. I think using technology, really high tech stuff, would remove biases so that the marginalized could move through the system faster, actually. Because if a social worker, an occupational therapist, and a doctor and a physiotherapist and a massage therapist and a chiropractor all had access to the same chart immediately, how quick could somebody be treated? Like a clinical counselor and a psychologist and a doctor and the specialist and the emergency all had access to the same thing immediately. You would be able to say, whoa, this indigenous lady who's pregnant, holy cow, her background's crazy, but she's fine. Let's deliver the baby. We don't need to call the police, because that happens here.
Yeah.
They look at the girl's face and say, we're calling the police. And that actually happens in Canada in YVR. And it's I think that part of it is technology and communication, you know? So.
Yeah, I get, like, the worst thing that happened to me medically was like 7 years ago. I had
toothache.
I had a leg infection that turned into like cellulitis, which is like a form of staph. And I ended up having to carry an IV bag and a fanny pack for like 18 days. And it was fucking traumatic. And it was horrible. It was like, well, it wasn't traumatic. I don't want to sound like a diva, but it was very bad. But it was like, I walked into emergency and they treated me and stuff. And it ended up being like a 2-month ordeal with the healing process. And then I would, like, every 3 days I would have to go to like a clinic. And what Marty was saying about them not knowing, like, not having the drafts and all that stuff is like, it was so bad at that point, because every time I went, like, they would be like, okay, go to this one. But if that one was closed, like, I was in Calgary at the time. So it was like, if I went to one of the dressing clinics in one part of town, or sometimes for whatever reason they'd send me to a different place. And then every time I got there, I'd have to explain what happened because I couldn't just look it up on a chart and be like, oh, you did this, 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 and this. So here's what this is. They'd be like, okay, when did this happen? And I ended up telling the story like 1,000 times. And then one of the things about cellulitis is once you get it once, you can get it again, like just like another infection later on. So like 3 years later, when I was in Vancouver, I got another infection in my leg, and it was like every time I go to the hospital, they'd be like, "Do you have diabetes?" I'd be like, "I don't know. Nobody's tested me." And it was like I got that question all the time. But if they would have had this interconnectivity with the tech, they would have known. And then they tested me, and they're like, "Yeah, you don't. Whatever. It's not healing because it's like staph or whatever." So then the second time I had it, I had to walk the doctor through the first time, and then they're like, "Okay, if this doesn't heal, come back to emergency," because they just gave me the pills. They're like, "We don't want to do the IV thing because that's like a last ditch effort and it fucking like nukes your body and stuff." And I was like, "Okay." And then I come back a couple days later. I'm like, "It's not getting better." And then it was a different doctor. So I had to explain what the first doctor said. It's like, I mean, if I wasn't a guy who liked to talk about my own injuries so much and like could remember all this stuff, like God forbid I had English as a second language and I couldn't remember everything the first doctor had said. And then, because it was like, I would basically be like, all right, here's the fucking novel of what happened with my leg. And then there's like points where I had to like one doctor said, we don't really want to have an IV or whatever. And then another doctor, because I was in the emergency, I don't know why two doctors came to talk to me. And the one guy's like, what's going on? And I explained to him and I told him what the first doctor said. And I was like, but I feel like since I've had cellulitis before, that maybe I should just get on the IV. And then he's like, the second doctor's like, all right, we'll put you on IV. And then they give it to me. And the first doctor walks by again and he's pissed. He's like, I said we weren't going to do this. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, I shouldn't have to be an
advocating for yourself. Yeah, absolutely fucking not.
Like, I shouldn't have to convince them, be like, yo, since this like they should look at a chart and be like, oh fuck, you had an IV and a fanny pack for 18 days. This is fucking serious. Let's just fucking nuke your system.
No, it's true. I think everything you just proved my point, and I'll phone Dr. Bonnie Henry tomorrow.
Perfect.
I mean, it's easy. Just buy some iPads. How much could it cost?
Well,
yeah. The fucking every time I go get a new cell phone, they want to give me a fucking iPad. They're like,
just get it on the family plan.
I went to
all the hospitals.
So I had this test last week, and I was waiting for my results. So I phoned the doctor's office, and I did like some Googling, and I went I looked up the hospital, and anyway, a bit of research. I found out there's like this new system called My Chart. So and it's going to be in the Fraser Valley. It's a thing you can like look up your chart.
It's an app that doesn't work.
Well, here's the funny thing. So I phone up imaging at the hospital and say, hey, did you send my thing to the doctor? Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, should be there in the next day or two. And then I said, by the way, there's this thing you can sign up for called My Chart. I'm supposed to talk to you and you're supposed to give me a form. The lady's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yes, I know it exists, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Jesus.
Yeah. Couldn't like
on the website it says talk to the imaging,
talk to them.
and they'll give you the information so you can sign up, because you need a PIN and then you can log in using your whatever. That she didn't know, and she's like, nobody here knows. Sorry.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
And once it gets going, I'm sure it'll be great, but it's just a classic example of a public system, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the tax department in Canada is famous for being efficient and quick. Well, neither is public health care, right? So,
yeah.
Anyway, we should go. Nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Marty. Thanks for joining us and giving up your COVID-y Friday night to hang out, share your opinions.
Party on.
Thanks for the 3 eyeballs that were watching this whole time.
Marty, if people want to check out your music or whatever the fuck you want to promote, feel free to plug it now.
No, I've got a record on the internet, so you can go on Spotify and check it out. It's really fun dad rock record. Sounds like the Beatles, if you like that sort of thing. And it was played on Hockey Night in Canada, which is cool, and also all over college radio across Canada. I found out I was played at McMaster University on yesterday.
Cool. Bougie.
Yeah, yeah.
Nationwide.
No, I've played Windsor, Saskatoon, Regina. I'm just waiting to get played in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up my favorite song. Sweet California.
That's the one you like. And I listened to it the other day and I thought of you because I haven't listened. You don't, when you're an artist, you don't listen to your stuff ever. Mm-hmm. So I put it on because I wanted to. I'm recording a new album actually, a follow up. Because if you can't tour or play gigs, what do? You
just record.
You
make podcasts.
Yeah, I guess. But I thought of you. I'm like, yeah, this is the one Dale likes, and I like it too. I like it a lot. It sounds good. No, I'm really happy with the record, and I hope people get a chance to check it out.
That's good. You should be. If you're listening to this, go check it out. Also, if you're listening to this and you like the podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
If you don't like it, don't review.
Yeah, if you don't like it, keep your fucking shitty opinions to yourself, you dickhead.
I think we've only ever gotten one scathing review, and they said my voice was annoying and I say like too much, and I was like, well, there's nothing I could do about that, so thanks for commenting.
Thanks for your useless advice.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do an English accent to change the sound of my voice, but I just keep getting shit on, so I won't. Sure. One person, I can't remember your name on YouTube.
Fuck you, one person on YouTube. And I guess tune in next Sunday when we'll be back with
Jeremy Baker,
former guest on the pod, Jeremy Baker.
Jeremy Baker, good dude.
Jeremy Baker.
Yeah, he's fun.
Another Canucks fan.
At 4 p.m.
Are you guys gonna get what's that guy? Mr. Booth? Was Booth 7 or what? Do you know that Twitter guy?
Yeah,
the Canucks guy. I love him.
He's hilarious. I would
best.
love to get him on.
I'll reach out. I'll be like, hey, you want to come on our podcast?
I don't know. He's kind of he's one of those secret identity guys, right? Like he doesn't. Nobody knows who he really is.
Oh my god, maybe we could do a video reveal. That would be fun.
I don't think he's going to do it on our podcast. There's probably ones out there with better name recognition.
Maybe he'll be like, not enough people watch this, so I could still be like semi secret.
Yeah, who did he piss off? He pissed somebody off recently. It was awesome.
Everyone's
was it JT Miller?
Oh, okay, guys.
All right, I gotta go put my kid to bed. It's been a slice, gents.
I gotta go play video games because I don't have a family.
All right, until next week.
Rock on.
Bye, everybody.
Stay angry.